Hi, welcome to this episode of the Graduate Info Tank. My name is Nathan McMullen. I'm with the Center for Academic Success at Post. We're here to offer tutoring sessions. We've got a team of full-time professional tutors, as well as a team of peer educators here to help you in your studies. We have a wide range of topics that we cover, one of which is Microsoft Office, which is today's theme, Excel. So as we take a look as to what we're going to cover today, we're going to look up why would you even use a VLOOKUP in the first place. Then we look at breaking down the steps of creating a VLOOKUP, and then take a look at VLOOKUPs in action, work through an example. So the first question is, why would you even go through the headache? Yes, it's a headache sometimes to use a VLOOKUP. Often you're going to have two or more sets of data on different tabs on the spreadsheet, even in different Excel files. And you're trying to analyze the data and you want to pull in information from one spreadsheet into the other spreadsheet. Okay, VLOOKUPs are part of Excel's functions. It's very kind of basic programming. And really, it's going to take a look at the value in the left column and return a value for that same data in your next cell. Okay, so if we look at how we break down a VLOOKUP, we're trying to make it a little more friendly. If we start typing equals VLOOKUP in Excel, okay, Excel is trying to be helpful. It gives you a little pop-up as to what you need to enter. It starts by saying, okay, we want to look at a lookup value, then put in a table array, followed by a column index num and a range lookup. Okay, that's not very friendly. It's not even English to a lot of us. So what is it really asking for? So the lookup value, okay, so that's what is it you want to be to look up, okay? You've got the value in the cell. That's exactly what you want to be telling Excel to find. Then the next step, the table array. Okay, so that's where you want to look. Okay, you want to look in the other tab. You want to look in the other spreadsheet. Okay, then the third step, column index num. Well, that's really which column in that other spreadsheet do you want to pull the value back. So, okay, so my value, my name, my whatever I'm looking up is going to be in column 3 or column 5. So A, B, C, D, column 4. Okay. Then the final step here is a range lookup. So that's essentially asking you, do you want to get an exact match? Do you want Excel to find precisely that same value? So it seems like a bit of a silly question, because of course you do. But often data, as you know, when you work with it, is not always perfect. So Excel has some logic built in, a little intelligence where it can find an approximate match to the value you put in. I would advise, 90% of the time, you don't want it to go that far. The data you're going to be dealing with hopefully is pretty clean, and always start at least with a exact match. Okay. Now, it's counterintuitive here. If you want an exact match, you have to tell Excel that it's false. Okay, it's kind of backwards, but that's the way the logic is built in the back behind the scenes. Okay, so let's run in through this into a scenario here. So I have a set of data on, let's say, 4 different tabs here. I've got some student information with a student ID in their class. Okay. I've got another spreadsheet. Well, it's got their student ID and it's their name. And then I've got some information here with some course numbers and course names, the credits values. And then I've got the class, and a professor's name. Okay, so if we were to bring some of this data together, we could get a better picture of a student's studies and who their professor is. So take a look here. I clicked on the wrong cell. There we go. Click here. So let's first off, we want to look at the student name. Okay, we have their ID. Doesn't really help us reach out to a student necessarily. So what we're going to do, we'll use a Vlookup to go ahead and find a student name on sheet 4. So let's start typing the Vlookup function. And as you can see, Excel's already started with the blue pop-up here to help us. Okay, so I recommend clicking on that every time because it's going to help guide you a little bit. So we've double-clicked on it. It's finished the formula, the function, and opened the parens. So as we went through, it wants us to tell it what to look up. So what is it do we want to have Excel find? So we want it to look up the cell ID in this instance. Okay, so A2. And we're going to put a comma. Then we need to say, okay, well, table array. No, that's where do we want to find it? Okay, so we want to find it in the next sheet, which is sheet 4. So I'm going to click over, and we're going to highlight both columns. If there was multiple columns, we could just highlight them all. But we've got 2 columns of data here to keep it simple. So we've got columns A and B highlighted. Okay, then hit comma. We now need to tell it which column within this data do we want Excel to give us. So we already told it to find the student name. We want student ID. We want it to return the student name. So we're going to say column, it's column B, so it's column 1, 2, the second column. Okay. It doesn't want you to put in the alpha character of the column. It wants the numeric value, so you can count across what your column value is. So we've got a 2, and then hit a comma, and here we go. We got this true/false question. So if you remember, we want to try and put an exact match where we can. So let's double click false, and we're going to close the paren. Hit enter. Okay. Well, okay, there's a little success. Okay, so let me open this up a little bit here. So as you can see, Vlookup has looked for, if I double click on it, A2, it's looked on it in sheet 4, A through B. It's given us the second column, which was the name, and we said we want an exact match. Enter. Okay, great. So now we know this student ID corresponds with Anne, okay? And she's taken Biz 660. Fabulous. Okay, so imagine now we've got not just 8 rows here of data, we've got 800 or 8,000. You could go through and copy these one by one. Little trick in Excel. In the bottom right corner of any cell, when you click on it, you get a little square appear. It's super tiny, but you get a little square, and when you hover over it, your cursor changes from what right now is almost a white cross, changes to a smaller black cross. If you see the change there, so what you want to do, you can click on that and drag it down all the way. Okay. The other way you could do that, the other shortcut is just to start over. Is you hover over the corner, and if you just do a double click, it'll automatically pull it down. So your 8,000 rows have just been populated with the information. Okay. You want to do a quick visual check to make sure you haven't got any errors. Errors will pop up as a hashtag and /A. which usually means it's either that the value has not been found or there's some kind of error in your formula, which just takes a little troubleshooting. So hopefully that doesn't come up. All right, so let's look at the next step here, just to try it one more time. If we've got the student ID and their name, okay, so we've got a class number, maybe we want to put in the, you know, what the course name is. So we'll just put class name here, okay? So we'll start over with our VLOOKUP. Oops. And there we go, there's the blue. We'll double click on that. First step is, what do you want to find? Well, okay, so I want to find the class number. So in this case, it's B2, which is the Biz 660. I'm sure some of you already know what that is, but imagine we don't for right now. Hit the comma to move on to the next step. Table array. Table array, okay, that's where do we want to find that? So that's going to be on, in this instance, sheet 5. We've got the course name and the number. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight those columns. Hit comma, and it's going to ask, do we want to do the first or second or third or whatever column number? So we want the second because we want B. So we'll put a 2 in, and then we hit comma, we get that true, false again, so always go for false. And close your paren, hit enter, and great. So we've got a return. Biz 660 is leadership and change management. Excellent. So we're going to do our double click, control, copy, however you prefer to drag them down. I like to do the click the bottom right corner just to save a little time there. Okay, and it's pulled in all your class names. Perfect. We could keep going. There's lots of different ways you can pull in the information, but this is just an initial overview on just some basic steps on how to break that down. Just keep in mind you're looking at what, where, which, and should it be an exact match. Okay, so here at the Center for Academic Success, we're able to offer you tutoring throughout your term and your studies. Feel free to reach out to us at our email address, cas@post.edu, or call our main line, 203-596-4683, and we'll be happy to get you scheduled for an appointment. Thanks so much for joining this evening. Have a great night.